Welcome everyone to the March Finance Committee meeting of the Sonoma County Library. And Lisa, are you there?
I'm here. Do you see me?
I do. Are you in
Can you hear me?
charge?
I'm in charge from afar.
Okay, mission control.
Mission control. Can you see the agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Before I go to the background, I will let you know that no comments were received via email, and Commissioner Engbarth is the only person attending virtually.
Thank you, Lisa.
Okay.
We will proceed.
Fade away.
My all of my packet came upside down and right side up, so bear with me today. I'll have to stay focused. I didn't do it. I really did. All right, calling us to order, Commissioner Cahill
Here.
and Commissioner Doyle.
Here.
And Commissioner Elkind.
Here.
And Commissioner Poles wrote that she had a conflict and wouldn't be able to be here today, so. Does anyone have any announcements? Hearing none? Okay. Sorry. Public appearances, seeing no one in the room and no one as at home for Lisa's update. Let's go to discussion item 4.1, the financial reports for February 2026, and turn it over to our CFO.
Hello. This is the monthly report as of February 28, 2026. So it is budget time. It's really been that's been time consuming, and our team has been working on that. So I do want to thank Catherine Line for assisting with preparation of this report. And February is almost 67% of the fiscal year that has transpired. And it is the 8th month of the fiscal year. And we are within our budgets, except for in capital, and we will discuss that later on, a little later in the report. But here we are with actual revenues at almost $25.7 million, which is 55.6% of our total budget. And that's for two reasons. One is that our next or the final installment of property taxes are in April next month, around the corner. And also our sales tax is 2 months in arrears. So, but given what we've received to date, we are on target in terms of meeting our revenue targets. And as you know, also the commission approved a mid-year revenue adjustment to property tax, and so we're doing okay. So as of February, the property tax receipts were $16,466,678. In February, sales tax receipts were $1,608,608, and that marked this 6 months of sales tax receipts. In the other revenue category, we received $492,364, which is a combination of grants, donations. And as you can see, there has been an adjustment made to this grant revenue related to the city of Petaluma. We had to make an adjustment and reflect that the funds were a reimbursement, not a grant. So we wanted to make that announcement. And In terms of expenditures, salaries and benefits are 20,260,220. $20 million, sorry. 20,260,220. No wonder that didn't sound right. I'm going back to elementary school where you have to read these. I want to be proper. I want to be proper, yes. And that's about 65% of our total budget expenditure. So we are within our budget. Also, as you recall, the commission approved a budget adjustment to increase the budget for salaries and benefits to reflect the approved labor memorandum of understanding and the costs associated with that. Services and supplies expenditures are $7,848,706, which is 53% of the budget. Rents and leases still are trending a little over our budget, and there's a couple of reasons for this. One is that, of course, as you know, our monthly rent is paid 1 month in advance, but we are also seeing that that we're logging here the rentals for storage that have applied to some of our operations over the last few years, given the modernization projects, and also equipment, given some of the issues happening with Central in terms of cooling. And those were not anticipated, but yet reflected here. But overall, we are still within our budget. The library capital expenditures are $2,595,892. And here is the flip side of the correction under revenue is that we also needed to reflect this in capital expenditures. So it's a reimbursement, meaning there's a reduction to our expenditures to the library for the Petaluma project. Cash balances, property tax is at $19.8 million. Sales tax is at $13.3 million. And restricted cash balances, which reflect our bequests, is about $3.5 million. And Friends and the Foundation are $1.4 million. The fund balance here is, we have, as of February 28th, uncommitted fund balance available for budgeting under property tax, approximately $8.9 million, and under sales tax, approximately $1.4 million of uncommitted funds. I do have a note here that just updating the finance committee that staff continues to work on updating the statement of special fund activity that represents the fund balance. And we're trying to do our best to make it user-friendly and transparent. So we've been working on it. We still have some ideas to try to meet that goal. So I think that sums up our monthly report. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple questions and I'll ask everyone. Could you give us an update, more information about what Petaluma reimbursed us for, what was covered in their share of cost?
So Dara, do you
It
know?
was like, I remember the amount being just under $1 million, but as far as the specifics, I do
think
not
it was
have
the fire
a
system.
CIP.
Yeah, I think Catherine could help you with that. She
Yeah.
worked closely on the grant.
For outputs, there was the fire suppression, the lighting. And then there was two more.
There's some ADA compliance
Yes, ADA
on the
compliance.
outside,
And then,
and they're working on that now or coming up, but
um, I looked at it this morning and now I'm blinking.
Yeah, I don't have the SCIP report in front of me that breaks it down.
But they were, all the grant, was based on the modernization project, but also the grant we received, and we were partnering with the city of Petaluma. And those were funds that we received from the city of Petaluma, and then, parts were grant, parts of it, and then part was our, match to the grant.
So they got a infrastructure grant from the state and then they were required to have a share of it.
Mhm.
And something I've remember in the past where we were counting their financial contribution as that grant. But they actually also are paying like cash, like they wrote us a check.
Yeah,
Or-
so we performed the work
Yeah.
and it was the work that they were responsible for paying for. So because we performed the work and we had our contractors do the work, so they reimbursed us for basically their share of the work that we paid for.
So does this represent the entirety of that share? The 400 and,
That's the grant portion, so yes. And then, because you have the grant portion and then you have the match. And so the grant revenue is what, we had originally put in grants, and that's not, it should be a full reimbursement for the fire suppression, because that was under their scope of the grant.
So essentially, when we book revenue, we have to book it in very specific line items. So we originally booked it as grant revenue when it's not. It's a general revenue. And so it needs to be booked in a different line. And it also needs to be booked against, directly against the expenditures.
Because they received the grant. They
Right.
received the grant. We did not receive.
Yes,
the
we were
grant.
not the grantee.
so this is the money that came from the state to the city. and
No, this
No?
is their share of there's the grant. And
Right.
then the city had a
Right.
share and the library
Right.
had a share. So this is the city's funds, their general funds,
Okay.
so it's not grant money.
That's what I wondered. Okay, great. And let's see, also the rents and leases, I thought you said something just now about it's higher than expected because of something about cooling something. What was that?
As you know, in the warmest summer months, the library had to rent extra equipment to help cool off the central building. And there was also some other issue with a leak in the roof that got into some important piece of the HVAC that then had it down, and so we had to make do and rent some equipment to keep the building cool.
So we were required to pay that. But, well, there's no lease. so- Yeah,
May I ask you a question about that?
yes, you may.
I understand the expense. I'm curious, why does it show up under rents and leases as opposed to?
So I think we
equipment
have,
Maintenance.
we have 3 different lines that are rent. So there's building rents. There's one account that's called building rents and the other and leases. And then there's another line item that says equipment rents and leases. So this is a combination so that we simplify your report. So we combine certain accounts.
So just to follow, so this item summarized on this report as rents and leases, if we're leasing photocopying equipment, it shows up in that category.
I think the photo leasing is under other contracts, actually, our photocopiers, isn't it? Mhm. Well, we could book it in that account, but we currently we're not. The photocopiers that we lease are not in that line item. We do not show it as equipment leased.
So what's I understand rents.
Mhm.
I guess my question is, what kinds of leases show up here as opposed to elsewhere?
The leases here are the building leases that we have with Occidental. Forestville, and
Roseland.
Roseland and State Farm, the current building that we're in right now.
Those are not rents?
Those are leases.
Okay.
Yes, rents and leases. And the other is, and then the other line item in there is equipment leases. So, and also, and I think leases, and we're putting storage. There's some storage units that we have also with temporary storage.
Storage makes sense to me, that.
And then under equipment is when we rent temporary equipment, like
Okay.
the cooling, I don't know, there were individual
That's.
AC
Because
event.
the photocopiers, that's not temporary. We have long-term leases. for
Yes.
things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're saying when we rent equipment, short-term, it would show up here.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
those are our
That's
temporary,
fine.
short-term.
Thank you.
Yes.
And David, go.
Yeah, since the specter of the air conditioning at Central has been raised, it's also possible topic for discussion under the quarterly capital report, because you talk about staff is redoing our options based for Central based on the city's new downtown plan.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
So would you like to discuss all of this now or under that item?
I think we could just,
That's not really on the agenda.
That is.
well, what's on the next, and the next item is the quarterly report, and we have not spent funds under this. Do we want to, in the current budget, there were funds approved for Central Library for carpeting and painting.
Right.
And the scope of that has expanded some, or thoughts of it, you know, and there were some other items. So that we haven't spent any funds for that project, and that was my explanation.
So
Okay,
how
that-
about if we just wait till we get
We
that
take that.
in here? But I had the same thing, David. I had one final comment.
I have a question.
Okay. I think we did the cost of living adjustment in March, didn't we? At the March meeting? Just the recent one?
I mean, that it was approved by the commission in March, is that what your question?
We approved
Yeah.
the budget adjustment.
Right, but it says in February, the commission approved a mid-year adjustment in salaries and benefits. I thought we did
Yes.
that I thought we did that at the last meeting.
I'm sorry, it was I think, we may have reversed this. The, finance committee reviewed that proposal for the mid-year adjustments, and then the commission approved it in March.
So that would be a correction to this
Yes, we
report.
can make a correction.
That's what I thought. Just did that. Okay, and you mentioned the progress on the reports, which we look forward to. And see, Deborah, did you have a chance to ask any questions? Or you good? Yeah, I know, but you're good, Deborah? Okay.
I just had a question about the timing of the COLA. So when we approved the MOU, we owed a COLA adjustment dating back to January of 2025. And when was that actually paid?
In October, I believe.
Okay, so-
Well, wait, let's see. Yes, in October.
Okay,
Mhm.
so, and since then, we have continued to make all the necessary, as part of payroll, it's been included.
Yes, it was so I think the MOU was approved on the 20-something, early 20s, and then the first pay period that was August 23rd. That's when the COLA going forward was applied. And then all the retros were calculated separately.
Okay, but in any case, they've all been paid. What we were approving at the commission meeting was simply the adjustment to the budget to reflect the fact that salaries and benefits were going to be higher by year end than they had been when we
That is
budgeted.
correct.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Okay. Let's move to the reports themselves. Did anyone have any questions about any of reports included in the text.
I had one question.
Andy?
I noticed, under the voucher payments over, maybe this is not an appropriate question. If it's not, you don't have the answer. But I noticed that we had paid the Ivy Group more than $50,000. Haven't heard anything about the strategic plan recently. How are they doing?
Well, we got our rough draft of our 5 areas of focus and our strategies, and they're working on tactics, and we should have something to bring to the commission in May. So the full strategic plan will be coming to the commission in May.
Okay.
So are they done with their work then? And
No.
is this full payment for their
No.
work?
We paid them probably about 150, I think. No, not less than that.
I can't remember.
I think the contract for this fiscal year was about 192. So I don't know exactly how much we paid them, but it's,
This
I'd
was,
say about a half at this point, yeah.
okay, this was an NOT.
All right, and are you feeling okay about the progress of?
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
great, great. Just be patient.
And you will be hearing about it some at the budget hearings.
I'm sure I, no secrets, okay.
All right, moving on to item 4.2, FY 2025-2026 capital improvement project update for the second quarter.
Okay.
So I organized this report to give you an update on the modernization projects that were started last fiscal year and had not been completed, and the work continued into this fiscal year. And we are so because work has been completed in this fiscal year, I have requested a rebudget to rebudget the funds from last fiscal year into this fiscal year. And as you can see, what I've done is given you, if you look at, where's the? It's seen on page 14 is a summary of these projects as to how much has what the funds were spent as of February 28th. And then the difference is what we needed. We're asking for a rebudget to roll over the funds. So for example, in history and genealogy, there has been work done on the library side and worth about $55,000. Also under the patio at Cloverdale, there was work done since October. And we're asking for $37,000 there to cover those actual costs. In Healdsburg, about $4,000. And in the Petaluma refresh, there was expenditures of about $79,000. And then there was a payment to the Rohnert Park for that modernization project for the library's part of the library's grant match of $209,000 for a total of $331,000.
Thank you. I'll ask others for their questions first, David.
Yeah, this is a dumb question. I see CIP and CAP up there. They're abbreviations for something. What are the abbreviations for?
I think the CAP, which is, I think the CIP is the first one that you see. It's called Capital Improvement Program.
Okay, and what's the
Plan.
CAP?
Capital.
Short for capital.
Just capital,
Mhm.
not capital improvement. All right,
Well, it is a capital improvement project. But yeah.
We're limited to how many characters we can use sometimes, so sometimes we have to.
So are you ready for questions? All right, I'm wondering, this is the reverse of the Petaluma where the in terms of the funding, because the city of Roanoke Park is managing the grant, got the grant, managing the grant. And so the 50% share goes from the library to the city rather than the Petaluma version. So is this the 209, is that the full share for Roanoke Park? Because I thought Roanoke Park had to come with 400,000.
Correct. It's 400,000 that we have in the
Yes.
books and we have committed set aside for Roanoke Park.
Okay.
The city issued a letter to the library asking us to transfer
They have.
209,000.
Yeah, there's a payment plan,
Yeah,
so we
I
pay them
remember.
half at one time and half at another time.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So, I thought it was 400,000 anyway, that's times two. What was my other question on here? Oh. It was actually, the same question that David asked a minute ago, about the library is awaiting feedback from the city of Santa Rosa for exterior ADA work.
No, this is my question.
Oh, it's not David's
No.
question, it's my question. Okay. Could you enlighten us about waiting feedback about the ADA?
Yes, there's two areas. One is as you enter the front of the building, there's a slope to the cement.
Yeah.
Which is not ADA compliant, so that's been something we're trying to work with them on getting. And also as you step from the interior of the library into that courtyard area, we've put a slight slope, but it needs to be formally done with, I don't know, it needs to be better done than the metal piece that we have accommodating it until it can get done, but yeah, we need the city to do their part to match the ADA compliance issues.
Refresh us on the ADA, because which is typically something that the jurisdiction would be responsible for, but we had that whole plan. And then the library has paid for some of it, I believe, for some of the ADA.
Well,
but
some of, if it's,
exterior,
so the exterior is the responsibility of our JPA
it
part.
is.
The interior we have done. So for instance, bathrooms, Cloverdale's bathroom is now ADA compliant where it wasn't previously. So that's our responsibility. It's any ADA piece on the interior. So for an example, if we go to redo Central Library, one thing we're gonna have to figure out is whether or not there's going to be public access to the second floor, because that is not truly ADA compliant since we don't have an ADA compliant elevator. So these would be the things that would be in our scope because they're inside the building.
So the outside piece, the entranceway though, is the city of Santa Rosa.
It is,
So
yes.
was a responsibility.
Yes.
So, other questions? David has a
Yeah,
question.
with regard to the item, it says central, given information about the city of Santa Rosa's plans for downtown, staff is reevaluating the options for Central Branch.
Yes.
What is the information about the city of Santa Rosa's plans for downtown? What is it?
So we've started working with an architectural group to look at the building itself to see what some of the options would be to do renovations. There's other things like we're waiting to see whether or not we get a new support building for HQ. That would allow us to move literacy folks who are on the second floor to the new HQ, which would make our plans for Central much more simple. It takes any concerns about trying to figure out how to get an ADA compliant access to a second floor. And it creates more staffing space by having them at the new location. So it completely changes what we can do to the interior of that building to better meet the community needs.
Okay, that wasn't quite my question. The latest downtown plan from the city is they're gonna leave us alone. Okay, the library is not part of the latest thing to redo City Hall by moving out into associated buildings.
Okay.
This is good, all right? So, so what is the staff's latest reevaluation doing, especially with regard to the need for a new air conditioning system?
Well, that would be
That-
part of our plans if, so at
Well,
this
let me
point.
stop
okay,
you there.
okay.
So we're working with them on a master lease. We will have that probably for the May commission meeting.
Okay,
And the details about who will pay for what will be in the master lease.
and when do you think you'll have proposed contracts for air conditioning ready for commission action?
As I said, you know, the responsibility to pay for the HVAC will be in the master lease. And until we have that approved, we can't do an RFP for an HVAC without a lease that details who's responsible for what. So we have to get the lease before we can do an RFP for the HVAC.
Okay, so it will not be in May that we'll get a proposed contract. Because that's when you expect to have the leases ready.
That's correct.
Well, I'm not the only commissioner who thinks that the air conditioning is mission critical to serve our public. And it's 80 degrees outside today, and by June, it's going to be much hotter. So when realistically do you think that we're going to have some decent air conditioning for Central for this summer, or not?
It won't be this summer. I can tell you that much. You know, I mean, my perspective is, you know, if the city can share the cost, then why wouldn't we expect them to share the cost?
Yeah. So, do you have any idea what this is going to cost?
I don't think we do, no. I know that the city had an RFP for their buildings, but I don't know where they are in their process.
I remember vague a couple of years ago, there was a talk of $1 million or 2 million to replace the unit. Is that the area basically we're talking?
I have no idea. I have no idea. That was what when we were doing the grants
Mhm.
and we hired ABM to evaluate our buildings and give us a cost proposal, that was that was the amount that they proposed. But I don't know based
Sure.
on what specs they were giving us.
Since this is on the agenda, I think we should.
Well, it has to do with the staff
Yeah.
plan. Staff is really reevaluating the options for Central Branch. I think it's in order. If you want me to make a point of order and get the chair's ruling, you're welcome to do so. But
Well, I
anyway,
think-
we not think we got the answer.
No, I agree. I mean, the specifics we can't get down to, but I think it's an appropriate discussion given the fact that we have this information on this report.
Okay.
And we realize that it's sticky and it's in the middle of things,
Right.
and you'll report to us when you know more.
Great.
And we will see more information on the budget at the budget workshop.
Probably not the budget workshop, but definitely the May commission meeting.
Okay. Other questions, follow-up, Andy?
I have a question, it's not a follow-up, it's a totally different question about the format of the report. Because I feel like there are
Oh, thank you.
some past decisions kind of woven in here that aren't reflected here, and that's fine, but I just want to clarify it because I'm looking at the two right columns, the actual expenditures and the, well, actually, I'm looking at all three columns. The fiscal year 2026 adjusted budget with the rebudget from Q1 compared to the actual expenditures as of 2/28. And I can see that when the actual expenditures exceed the adjusted budget, you're asking for an additional quantity to release. So for example, the Cloverdale patio and restroom remodeling, the adjusted budget with the rebudget is 121,000, the actual expenditures are 158. You're asking for the difference. That all makes sense. The one thing where I'm not seeing this is with the history and genealogy. where our actual expenditures are 653,000. I assume that that was budgeted and expended prior to 2026, and that's why we're not seeing any budget here.
These are funds that we received from the grant, so there were expenditures that were covered by the
They
grant.
were covered, okay. So that's what's not showing up here, basically. Okay, thank you. That was it, Barbara, thank you.
Oh, good, thank you. So the grant covered 653,000? Thank goodness, okay. Have we completed this topic? Okay. Everybody's asked their questions, all right. Let's move on to, budget accounting and finance services workflow, and I believe that is this a new one that you just handed out, Catherine?
Yes, that's the current one.
Okay. But
So essentially, with the workflow, skipping down to, in February, we did cover the mid-year review and a procedures update. This month, I moved the capital project update, which was originally going to happen in February. I moved it to March, and we're requesting additional appropriations. And started the 5-year forecast, have not completed it. I'm not sure when at this time I can complete it, but I'm hoping that I could present it to the committee before the end of the fiscal year. And then we have the finance committee roles and responsibilities. In May, I do expect an update on the capital projects for Q3. And then in April, there is no finance committee meeting. However, there is the budget workshop on April 22nd. And in June, it is anticipated to have the budget adopted by the committee.
Okay. Questions? Comments? Good. Okay. If hearing nothing else, let's move on to 5.1, approving the roles and responsibilities of our committee. And I think originally that Meredith and I were going to work on this together, but I did it because I had been so late in getting us going. But I thought about this on the way over here, and what Meredith was just saying is that we're going straight from here to the budget workshop. And I had put in here, because this was a hangover from, long ago, that we, let's see.
They were
Yeah.
involved in preliminary budget review
Yeah.
discussions prior.
Right, and so I think we used to do that, so apparently we're not doing that anymore, and I don't know when we stopped doing that, or whether we should not expect to ever do that again, or do you feel there's a role for this committee prior to having the budget workshop or not?
Well, I think we do need to discuss, if the committee wants to do that, we can, but the budget workshop, I would have to really evaluate the sequence of events. So like at this point, here we are, the budget workshop is on April 22nd. I would not, at this time, I don't have anything
I know.
in good form to share with this committee. And actually, it was interesting because this finance committee did approve a process for the budget. And I don't recall that the budget came here, so there is
It's been
this.
long ago.
No, that was
No,
very
I mean,
recent.
when I wrote this,
Oh, these
11 years ago.
procedures.
So long ago, we might have weighed in on the budget before. There was a point in there where the commissioners were expressing their budget priorities. And I think that was a early part of the process, and we've talked about this before. And then the answer was, well, let's let the budget priorities come out of the strategic plan process. So I think it's that kind of change resulted in this, but I'd like to hear what you'd all like to hear for in terms of writing this. Roles, and Deborah, you're ready.
Yeah, we had this conversation. We wanted the commission to be more involved in the budget process. And we talked about this, I think, last year as the budget process was already starting. And so I think what we're hoping for, and then it just ran into each other this year. There were a number of things that were going on that didn't allow us to involve the commission fully, but because I think the commission has expressed in the last couple of years some frustration that the first thing that we see is the budget. And we're not involved in having conversations about strategy and that sort of thing. Now, it's also because we had a strategic plan, and so the budget rolls along with the strategy. But since we were in the middle of the new strategic planning process, I think that caused some concern and at the commission level. So if we're going to have a strategic plan that we all agree on, then that also will then roll into the budget process. But it would be nice somewhere along the line, I think we all thought.
I think we had talked about doing it in the fall.
Yeah,
If I recall. And the reason why we didn't do it this fall was because we were doing a new plan. And so why
Correct.
would we use our old plan for our new budget?
correct.
And so I think the idea would be next fall,
Right.
we would have kind of the,
Get involved in the beginning.
yes,
That's right.
that makes sense.
So from this theme that we're talking about, this would be appropriate to leave it in here that the finance committee is involved in preliminary budget review, or at least budget discussions, or some
Priorities, maybe?
your priority setting. Well, we want that also from the full commission. though.
I have a question.
Yes,
Do you
David.
want this to be approved today? It's on there for a motion, right? Isn't it?
He was wondering if we will have to approve this today. We don't have to approve it today. But I'd like to hear your thoughts about it. I did make several modifications and tried to clean it up.
This is your version of.
Yes, it's only my version. Yeah. Dave, Andy.
Two separate things. First, in terms of improving it, there's no red line here, so it's hard for me to see what changes were made. I mean, I looked at it, it seemed fine to me. I did have a question about this one item, but I don't recall the specific things that were different here. So that would be helpful to me. In terms of the involvement of the commission or the finance committee, I agree it makes more sense for the commission as a whole, and that discussion should be based on the strategic plan, which we don't have. So I think I don't know that we in this draft need to indicate that we're involved in discussions prior to the budget workshop. But I think somewhere in the general schedule, there should be an annual look at the priorities coming out of the strategic plan and how those should affect the budget. I kind of assumed that in the absence of a strategic plan, we were going to do a budget that was pretty similar to what we had done last year. That was just my assumption, but since we hadn't had any discussion about major changes in emphasis, it felt like we were just going to kind of keep going till we got the new direction. Is that sort of what's been happening? Yeah. Okay.
So where do we land with the committee's responsibility and with the preliminary budget? Your thoughts? Again, we don't have to approve it today, but.
And I would delete that one sentence and just,
We don't see any preliminary to the budget. We don't see any part for the finance committee to play.
Especially this year.
I think the finance committee has been great and I've certainly enjoyed it. I would like to see greater participation from the commission as a whole in looking at the budget. And I think what we're discussing as kind of a fall review of priorities makes sense to involve the whole commission and get them a little more familiar with the budget so that the budget workshop doesn't just drop out of the blue.
Yeah, I agree. And, I guess I shouldn't talk about the ad hoc committee, but there is, again, this isn't the only place we're hearing about the greater commission being involved in the understanding the finances. So, I'm gonna take out that top line, I take out the also and just say, because we do receive and discuss a preliminary
Yes.
audit.
And that I think was, I'm sorry, I think that's useful because the audit is as detailed and specific as it is, and I think it's been useful for us to see that in advance.
Okay.
Can you all see the screen where I
Yes.
Yes.
remove that sentence? Okay. So if this is approved today, then it'll be, move to approve with red line, deleting the sentence and deleting.
Well,
This
that was really
work.
beautifully done, Lisa.
Look at it.
Thank you.
That's mission control. Everything
Mission
happens-
control
Uh,
on the
Yes,
scene.
The major changes I made were like, this isn't a subcommittee. I changed it to a standing committee. And I changed this to composition and responsibilities to make sure who was actually on the, on the commission, on the committee and so forth. So they weren't major changes, and I'm not really great at tracking stuff. So if you prefer, I will try to go back and figure out what I did, but
So, all right, I would move to approve as revised.
Well,
I have another amendment.
David?
If you, Lisa, could you page down very slightly, sorry, up. Never mind, up, farther up, the first introductory paragraph. Stop. Composition and responsibilities is incorrect. The first line is wrong. What it says is the committee is composed of no more than 5 commissioners, the library director and the library CFO. I checked with the former chair on this. The committee is composed of no more than 5 commissioners, period. Library director and the library CFO are not committee members.
They're
So
not.
what it should
that's
say
correct.
is after a period after commissioners, should say library director, library CFO, and other staff support the work of the committee, something like that.
Yeah, I'd like to strengthen that a little bit, but I hear what you're
Yeah.
saying, and I found that we had written it like this way back when. I thought, well, that's kind of nice because of the way that I brought who can bring up matters and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. Let me go back and work this over.
It
Yeah.
looks good.
Withdraw my motion.
Okay.
And just a comment,
Yes.
I know that the JPA says this, I think the JPA says it, and I think the bylaws say it, but I have never, in all of my years of being on boards and being involved in all kinds of organizations, I have never seen a board that said that the committee selected the chair and the vice chair. It has always been the chair has appointed a chair of a committee. And then, and
The
other,
Chair of the commission.
that's correct. Has-
Really?
Well, like it's,
And I've never, in all my years, I've never seen a board
Yeah.
in which the committee decides who's the chair and who's the vice chair.
Wow.
So maybe the language is
I think the bylaws
the
say this.
commission chair, the bylaws say this.
I think the bylaws say this, which makes me nuts, but
But doesn't the commission chair appoint the members of the committee? And then
Correct.
the
Yes.
committees, then the committee selects the
but
chair.
it's still nuts. Yeah.
It's
Well,
not
it's-
done.
it's our tradition.
Okay.
We can always change the bylaws. We have changed the bylaws in the past.
You don't want
But
to go
our
there.
bylaws say that committee chairs are appointed by the commission chair.
No. The committee members are
I
appointed
know.
by the commission chair.
Right.
What it then says is that the committee chooses the chair.
Isn't that what we're doing? What am I saying?
Yes, and I think it's still,
Like,
And she thinks it should be
I
the
think-
chair.
the commission chair appoints the chair of the finance committee and the rest of the members of the committee. But that's not how it goes.
that's too bad.
So we need to check back with the bylaws then. That's where this starts.
This is just a standby objection because that's what the bylaws do say, I believe, but
Okay.
yeah.
So
But
check
it's just
bylaws,
odd.
or something else. We don't have anybody working on the bylaws right now. I
I
think
think
we're
time to
working
look at
on
it again.
everything else. Okay, all right. Let me
So,
bring back to you.
further work.
Further work, back at it. Okay. So, I did, agenda items for future committee meeting. I had one, but does anybody have? We had, for the last about year or so, we had, our topic was planning for the unassigned fund balance, and that's how we kind of using that overview to get to our policy on paying down the liabilities and so forth. After we have the budget workshop, I'd like to come back and add that back into our agenda, which is planning for the unassigned fund balances. And there's really two parts that we've talked about here many, many times. One is having a formula of some sort for any, I guess we don't like the word surpluses, but any overages at the end of a plan for anything that might be surplus at the end of the year, as well as what we currently have on the books. So there's really two plannings. But I'd just like to carry that discussion over for starting again in May, after we're more clear about everything. See what you have in mind for.
So you mentioned a formula for the unassigned fund balance for whatever is available at a year end.
I know what you're saying, the word formula troubles me.
Okay.
In that context.
A plan?
An allocation.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and I think if we could tie that into a revised fund balance report that would
Mhm.
make
Yeah.
clear what is really
But-
available and what isn't, it would,
Very
those
good.
two things together would be
Mhm.
very nice.
So that would be whatever larger, probably small amount is left at the end of a fiscal year, but then we have the existing fund balance. And you all know more than probably we know about plans for capital expenditures and all that kind of stuff, because but anyway, we need to have, as this shrinks down to, $10 million, make sure that all the libraries are upgraded, everybody gets, brought up to some sort of standard. I mean, I know you're planning for this. So anyway, do you understand? If I blurred
Yeah, so
because
I,
there's two aspects to it.
well, two aspects. I'm not getting the two. I'm understanding one is the allocation at year end, whatever is unspent, we have an overage surplus. How do we allocate
Right.
that
Yes.
to capital projects? And the other is,
What we currently have on the books. How we're planning
For
to use
unassigned
that.
that what we currently, what in your,
The 1 point.
Give me an
something and the
example.
9 point something. The amounts that show.
Oh,
as
okay.
An unassigned fund balance on a current report, which is gonna be changed. But those 1.5 million or something, and then 9 million.
Oh,
whatever that
okay,
is.
yeah, our current fund balance, and then going forward at the end of each fiscal year, how do we replenish our fund balance?
Well,
Are we
I don't even know it's replenishment. It's like just how to use it, or how, I don't know.
Well,
You-
that's the
what-
big
whatever you think.
discussion. There is
Yeah.
a bigger discussion in terms of, we have those buckets of buckets per the fund balance policy. So when I first joined the library, I think the finance committee was already on its way working towards managing the fund balance so that it could pay for these modernization projects and other things that are allowed for, computer assets and things like that. And so there were buckets established so that there was monies committed and set aside for those projects. And so that's why I said replenish. So there is a consistent way of
Yes.
replenishing.
That's what we're trying to get at. 'Cause
And-
that's the formula.
Right, and that would be the allocation methodology, let's call it. Okay, so we're all on the same page, I think, right?
Right.
At
Okay.
least in the same meeting.
In this meeting right now.
Anything else?
Yeah, I have a
Yes,
suggestion.
David.
about something on our plan, if any, to adjust the budget for dramatic increases in gasoline costs. I read an article a couple of days ago, written by somebody whose job is to write such articles, saying that before the war began, the average cost of gasoline in California was roughly $4.60. And this person estimates that shortly it could be $10. I don't think gasoline costs are that significant a part of our budget, but I'd like to see at least considered, possibly pulled out for some discussion, unless you're already on it. For all I know, you read the same article.
And we will discuss fuel costs.
Yeah.
Well, certainly we're gonna see this playing out in overall cost increases.
I brought this up last time, and I'm not sure whether it's appropriate for the finance committee. It's a policy change, and it's the expense policy for library commissioners. We haven't, we did a policy several years ago, and the cost of living has gone up, and so we might want to put a COLA on the commission expenses. So I don't know, but there's also something that says that commissioners are supposed to submit their expenses to the finance chair, and I'm not sure that we've always been doing that. So I think that the policy needs to be taken a look at, and I'm not sure where that lives, because we don't have an active, I can draft something, but I think I need a second. We need a second to put it on the agenda.
I'll second
To
that.
put it on
but
the-
I agree, it's out of date. I
Yeah.
agree, the amounts are probably out of date, and that I think we did that in the finance committee.
And that was a policy committee. It was actually you and Karen and Reese had a policy committee
Oh, gosh, yeah, that was.
long ago.
I think
Long ago.
we work with that rather closely. I think it's something to do with professional development and
But
This is for us.
this is for us. This is reimbursement for the commission.
yes.
Yeah.
For expenses.
Okay, so I can draft something and show it to you, and how about that? Is that,
I will-
does it
I
come
will
here
ask-
or does it come
I
to
will
you
ask
or does it?
Lisa to share with you what we've been using to
Okay.
date. And there is
There is a policy, there's a commission policy.
well, I understand that it was a draft. It may have been discussed here, but I don't think the commission fully adopted it.
Whoa.
I have a suggestion about that. Right now, each commissioner is in a silo. Each given a given amount. I would like to make it all one pool. I never use any of this. And I know
Great.
that one of us at least really could use a lot more because of library related expenses, going far beyond what's in her silo. So I'd like to see a more general thing.
That would
And
be-
possibly give the finance chair or the commission chair the authority to pass out goodies as needed, because mine just isn't used. Probably others are not used.
I would recommend that we add this as an agenda item, because now we're
Thank you.
kind of
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
talking about something that's not on the
Item-
agenda.
It's items for future
Yeah.
agendas.
This
Yeah.
is for future
Agenda.
agendas, yeah.
Oh, we are also in the middle of developing a travel policy, so maybe these two policies
Yeah.
kind
Fabulous.
of work together.
Fabulous.
Because we probably will have to have something in the travel policy about commissioner travel, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think,
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's the same policy, because we're so wildly different in terms.
Well, I mean, but if it's used for staff development by the commissioner, then they should probably be adhering. If they're traveling to do staff development, then they should probably adhere to our travel policy as well. So we just need to make sure that those two policies are,
Driving, yeah.
yeah,
measured.
in congruence.
Well, bring it all before us, and we'll chew it over.
Before the end of the fiscal year.
Right.
Fair enough.
It's
All right.
2:58.
At 2:58, let's wrap this baby up in less than an hour. And thank you to Mission Control. Good job.
Thank you,
And
Lisa.
You're welcome.
And no more strenuous exercise
Yeah.
for you.
don't
That's
get
right.
hurt. Yeah. And we miss you, and thank you all for being here and your attention and your good thoughts and ideas. Appreciate it. Adios.